So the quarterback news just keeps on coming in the XFL. It's crazy, guys. We have a trade, and it's our first of the original allocated quarterbacks. Luis Perez is traded from the Los Angeles Wildcats to the New York Guardians. And Pastel, as the president of the Los Angeles Wildcats Luis Perez fan club, this is a devastating blow.
Oh, it sucks. It sucks. It's almost as if I said he wasn't going to be a good quarterback. To everyone out there that was hating on me, saying, oh, you're not giving enough credit. He's way more accurate. He's a top 3 quarterback in the XFL. What do you guys say now, huh? What do you have to say now? He's a good backup in the XFL. To Matt McGloin.
You know what I got to say? I'm actually disappointed I spent money on that hat now because I have the colors wrong.
Now it's irrelevant.
That's irrelevant.
Already.
But this is obviously, you take a look at it, and we've heard from sources that Josh Johnson was winning that battle in camp. We even heard that particular player thinks Josh Johnson's going to be the best quarterback in the entire XFL. So we were expecting him to be the starter there. But for them to trade Luis Perez is kind of interesting, especially this so far into training camp. We're 2 weeks before the season.
Well, and it begs the question: does Kevin Gilbride does he see potential in Luis Perez and in bringing him in and being able to mold him for a year and maybe look at him as the future quarterback of the future? Because he is very raw. He hasn't played at a high level. He played lower division football in college. And so does Gilbride look at him and go, hey, I can get this kid in camp. I can get him on the team. He can sit behind an NFL veteran and Matt McGloin, who's got a very similar skill set. And then I can mold him into the quarterback he needs to be to start on this team. That's what I really think happened. I just think Kevin Gilbride saw it as like, hey, I can get this guy for Chad Kanoff, who is kind of a dime a dozen type quarterback. And I'm going to get a kid with an NFL caliber arm, with NFL caliber size, who I've molded in the past. I've molded guys like this in the past, and I can mold him into the next future star of the New York Guardians.
I personally think Winston Moss said, hey, I know what I'm seeing every day in practice. This guy's not a top QB. I'm going to trade him while some people believe he still is. And that's why Kevin Gilbride was like, probably one of those coaches like, hey, he did well in the AAF. He did well at Division II. Hey, I can still mold this quarterback. Because every coach thinks they can turn the player to a better player. So Winston Moss is probably like, let me get something while I still can for him, in my opinion.
Take off that hat right now, Pastel. You disrespectful SOB.
Embarrassing.
My God.
You know what I think it tells me, though, is that Luis Perez was high on Kevin Gilbride's initial allocation of quarterbacks. He had to have him really high to go ahead and trade for him, because I kind of side with Kenny on this one, the fact that, hey, he knew that he could get a high caliber quarterback that he deemed that was high on his list, and now he's got 2 of his top ones. So I think it's an opportunity for Perez to go there, learn behind an NFL vet, get some reps in practice. Who knows, maybe able to get into some games, develop just a little bit more. He doesn't have to carry the team. And who knows what happens with Matt McGloin next year, right? I mean, a little bit older, maybe he goes to the NFL and he's a backup, and you need a guy who can step right in. So that's what I think. I think they just wanted to add more talent to that quarterback.
So then why does LA do it?
Well,
that's a good question.
Well, I've read that teams have been encouraged by the league to trade guys to other teams to create a competitive balance. That's like a legit thing. Like, this has been reported by multiple sources. I've seen it, that the league has encouraged teams to trade players that might be more talented, might bring more talent to other teams, and they're being utilized in their current team. That's a legit thing.
Well, to answer your question, Pastel, why did he get traded? Well, maybe LA didn't think he was that good, but maybe New York thinks he is really good, right? It's all that value is all relative, right? Gilbride thinks he's really good, while Winston Moss probably doesn't. I mean, that's why trades happen. Somebody sees value where the other person doesn't see value.
The Wildcats must also see something in Jalen McClendon, who got the start in their scrimmage. They sat Josh Johnson. We aren't sure exactly why, whether it's a nagging injury or if it's just to keep him fresh, ready for week 1. But clearly the Wildcats saw something in Jalen McClendon where they felt like they could make this deal happen and get something in return. But when I look at Luis Perez and that fit in Kevin Gilbride's offense, I think it's a good landing spot for Luis Perez. I think he's the prototypical pro-style quarterback that has a big arm, not very mobile, but he's a smart guy. I mean, he just started learning football a handful of years ago. He didn't play football till like his last year in high school, and then he ended up being Division II Player of the Year. So the guy has talent. He just doesn't have the reps. So if you bring him in a system like Kevin Gilbride's, yes, it's a complex system. It's going to be difficult to learn, but you get to sit behind Matt McGloin, who has NFL experience, and he's a quick learner. He's going to be able to learn the playbook. Yep. I think one of you said it, I can't remember, but maybe this is a building for the future type of move for Kevin Gilbride, thinking ahead instead of just this year. I can mold this guy into being my future quarterback for the New York Guardians.
And one final thing on my end on it is, who knows? Kanoff might not have fit in Gilbride's system, but Norm Chow looked at it and said, hey, this guy would be an ideal quarterback for us. And then Gilbride turns around and goes, hey, we would like to have Luis Perez in this system because we think he fits in this system better than Kanoff does. So I think let's hit the nail on the head. It's really the eye of the beholder. You don't make this. You're not going to make this trade unless both sides see something in the quarterback they want at the end of the day.
It is interesting. The Wildcats have been one of the most active teams in terms of trades and waiving players, picking up players. I mean, and high-profile players at that. I mean, in minicamp, they waived Sean Oakman. They just recently traded their star receiver in Rashad Ross, and now they're trading their original allocated quarterback in Luis Perez. So it's not even that they're making moves. They're making moves with people that we thought were going to be key pieces on this team. I mean, please don't go back on YouTube and watch my X Factor for the LA Wildcats because I had Sean Oakman and Rashad Ross. Neither are on the team now. So the Wildcats are making some interesting moves, but obviously there's some type of method behind the madness. And obviously bringing in Josh Johnson, I think everybody kind of thought he had the upper hand with, in getting that job. But I still am a little bit surprised that this close to the season, they would decide to trade Luis Perez after him being allocated to them. Maybe it's they wanted to just send a message like, Josh Johnson, this is your team. Wherever you take us is where we're going. This is, you're getting the keys to the car, so to speak. And it made a lot of sense for New York. So we'll see how it works out. But I think overall it's a good move for New York. I think when we talked about the backup quarterback situations and who the next team should be to bring in somebody, we all thought New York needed to add to their quarterback depth. So New York was a good landing spot for Luis Perez.
Sure.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously Matt McGloin is still going to be the starter, especially this close to the start of the season. But
he's
Guardians
got to learn a whole playbook.
Yeah, it's just not.
Yeah, I mean, that's 2 weeks before the start.
Plus, Marquise Williams is there. I'm sure Marquise will be the primary backup until Luis gets
for at least a while. Yeah, but it's an interesting move. In my opinion, I think it's a move looking towards the future if you're the New York Guardians, and it's a move to solidify Josh Johnson as the face of your franchise for the LA Wildcats. So obviously there's motives on each side. That's why they made the trade. Let's see how it works out. But I don't doubt that Luis Perez has talent. Hopefully he gets an opportunity at some point in the XFL to showcase it. And until then, we'll just wait and see. What's up, football fans? This is Riley from XFL Chalk Talk. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date on all things XFL and interact with us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at XFL Chalk Talk.